Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Customs. This is a PrototypeZ Ryu kit, and this video, I don't know if I'm going to do a 1-part, 2-part, 3-part yet, but we're going to see how things go. This video is just more of a tips and tricks on how to get them together. It's not going to be a step-by-step of putting all the pieces together. It's just going to be some little things here and there, so when people actually get the kit, if they're new to making kits, it's kind of stuff that I've already kind of came across and how to get it together, and maybe it makes their life a little bit easier when they're ready to do the kit. I like to have my kits all in one piece, so I don't actually paint all the pieces and then glue it together at the end. I like to make sure he's one solid piece, so that's what I'm going to be showing you guys. So the first step is I cleaned them all up, and then I primed him. So I got all my primer on him, and the next step is fixing all the flashing, any errors, getting all that mixed up and together, drill my holes, and then we start piecing them together. So the main thing about this video is once he's put together, how I set up the pins in the base, and then how I get the arms onto the statue, because if you don't put the arms on correctly and then you try to put the fireball on afterwards, it doesn't line up correctly. So it's kind of like you got to do a little bit of tweaking. So I'm going to show you how I tweak it, how I put it together and make it one solid piece. So once I get them all set up and he's all pretty much put together and everything, and I'm ready to start doing the pinning in the arms, we'll come back and I'll show you how I get all that together. So like I said, it's not going to be a huge part series. It's just kind of helping people with a little bit of the harder areas of the kit, kind of make your life a little bit easier so you can do it. So we'll be back once we're ready to do all that stuff. Alright guys, so with the Ryu kit, what I did was I drilled up most of my holes for all the kit. So basically, I got the hole under this foot because I found that by trying to put magnets in here, what I was having is a problem with putting him in and out. It just wasn't staying, and for some odd reason the magnet kept coming out. So what I decided to do is I'm going to put a pin in here, a square pin going into the base. Then what I also did was drill a hole here and in here, and then drilled holes in the back of the arms, and I got holes here. I just didn't drill the holes on the body yet, because what I like to do is, the way I set this up is, I get Ryu set up with his legs first. I got some magic sculpt, I got my pin. I'm going to get this set up first, let this dry. Then the next day, I'll drill in the holes in here because I want this attached here and I want it attached to the body very well, because if you just glue this and then you glue this on top, you risk the, down the line just snapping and them coming apart. So you really want to make sure they're secured. So at this point, I got my pin, and I'm going to put the magic sculpt in here, put the magic sculpt in there, and make sure it's lined up with the base and everything. If you have a little bit of a gap in here, under here, or over here, that's fine, because it's easier to actually patch up that stuff than to try and glue this together like this and then try to fit him in later. So you want to make sure he's fitting into the base nice and snug. So what we're going to do is just do a little fast video of me just putting in the magic scope, getting this together, let this sit, we'll come back the next day and start getting the body up. But the main problem with the video is when we try to put the arms in there. But I like to have the whole body set with the pin, everything's flush, tight, then put the arms in last. It's just kind of how I like to work the Ryu kit. So let's get these legs together.
One, two, three, four. Three, one, four. One, two, one, two, three, four. Three, one, four. One, two, one, two, three, four. Three, one, four. One.
Alright, so basically I just did a fast put together, drop a bunch of glue in there, sprayed it, so just to make sure it stays hard and gets all set up for tomorrow. Of course, you got to fix all the seam and everything. But what I like to do next is kind of mark up what getting the pieces together. So what I like to do is drill a hole in here, drill a hole here, and then kind of drill going across here with some aves, and drill across here, and maybe a little bit here and over in there, kind of like a stapling effect, as you can see. And then I do is kind of match up it where it's going to go here, here, and then drill across there, as you can see. Basically, the reason why I'm doing that is when I put the magic sculpt over in here and here, and in there and there, it kind of gets it together along the side instead of just drilling here and there. It's just kind of really secure the body on. So we're going to let this sit for the day. We'll come back and we'll start showing you how I kind of attach the body, because I really like to have this one solid piece so you don't worry about it coming apart or anything. So looking pretty good, and we'll be back. Alright, so it's basically the end of the night, and I just want to do a real quick update. So what I did was, I got a little bit of magic scope left, and I don't want to waste it. So what I did is I drilled here, 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 and then I drilled in here. It's kind of like keying it in a way to make sure this piece is going to stay together pretty tight. And then I'll come back tomorrow and I'll do this parts up here. But just to burn this and get rid of this, I just figured, you know, just warping it around and just getting it in there, so it works out pretty good. So we'll be back tomorrow. Alright, at this point I have my magic sculpt in here, and I have 2 pins now. This is still wet, it's not dry yet. And then I also put some magic sculpt up in here around there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some glue, and I'm going to use some magic sculpt. But first I like to make sure that this piece actually goes in here fairly even, and that the magic sculpt is touching magic sculpt. So this way it all, you know, forms together and it keeps there. But as you see, putting a pin here, putting a pin here, and a pin there, it all locks it up together, and it makes it strong as one piece. Because you don't want to, you know, even though you can just glue it together and then be done with it, you really want it to seize and really be tight in one solid piece. That's the way I like to work. So we'll just do a fast video of me just getting this piece on here. Then after that, we'll just have to work out the arms on there, and then we're pretty much ready to go.
1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3. 1, 1, 4. 1, 2, 2, 2. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3. 1, 1, 4. 1, 2, 2, 2. 1, 1, 2.
Alright, so the magic sculpt isn't actually set yet, but the glue did help it hold it together. But as you can see, there's still a gap back here. And since I've done a few reuse, some of them actually work out pretty good and some don't. But that's a really easy fix with the whole Aves. But what I like to do is, since I have a gap, I like to actually spray some of my Insta-Set in here. And then what I like to do is take some of my glue, and I like to pour it in here. Get the glue kind of in there and let it fill in. And it basically, Insta-Set helps it set it like real fast, because if you put too much in and let it just soak through, it'll come through the bottom around here and start dripping out. At least the Insta-Set sets it right away. So I like to fill it up a little bit, not all the way with glue, but just enough so it's kind of like getting in there in the cracks and filling in, because if you shove Aves in here, you're not going to get it all the way up and around into the cracks, but the glue helps get in there and get it in. So I want to fill it up a little bit more and then do it with the Aves, and then that's pretty much it for that. But that's how I like to get the body together and the legs, just so it's nice and secured. As you can see, you know, I'm working out, making sure all the lines are nice and even. But that's pretty much where I'm at now, and then we'll come back and we're ready to start doing the hands. Alright guys, this next step with Ryu is a little tricky. So what I did was, as you can see inside the headband in my hand, I put some magnets in this little circle. I drilled in a drill nice and even, and I put in some magnets. There's like 3 little small ones, and this part's magnetized now because it's glued and everything. So what I did was, I drilled the hole here, I left this little piece up top, and then I drilled down in here and I threw a magnet in there. So then what I do is I take this piece, make sure it's lined up correctly, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop some glue and Aves in there, let that sit, and then what I'll have is I'll have a magnetized headband going in and out. So as you can see, it's moving in there because it's not glued yet. But that's pretty much how I magnetize it. So now when I glue the top of the hair on top of here, this is all hidden, but there's still a piece of magnet in there holding it. So I don't have to worry about pinning, I don't have to worry about gluing, it comes in and out very easily. So that's kind of how I did the magnet for the top and how I do it. So this part's a little tricky. It'd be hard to have the camera because I got to drop some glue in here. I got to hit it with the Insta-Set, let it set, then throw some Aves to make sure that Aves is really securing it in there pretty well, and then I'm good to go. It's sort of the same principle too when I'm going to do the belt buckle, because in there I drill the hole down in here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a magnet in that hole. And then I have the belt buckle here where I'm going to put a piece of metal, but not magnets. This is a square piece of metal that's will magnetize to the magnet in there. So I don't have to worry about magnets in here. I just have to worry about this being metal, because you can't put tin, you can't put brass, you know. So there's going to be a piece of magnet in there. This will magnetize that, and then this just goes in and out, magnetizes, and it pops in and out. So that's how I magnetize the sash and the belt buckle onto my Ryu. So I'll get these finished up, come back, we'll start working on the arms.